Number 10. Crucifixion. Crucifixion was a method of slow, excruciating execution used by ancient civilizations, most notoriously the Romans. The victim was stripped, beaten, and then nailed or tied to a wooden cross, arms outstretched, legs often bent and fixed in place. Death came slowly over hours or even days, typically through a combination of blood loss, dehydration, shock, and eventual asphyxiation, as the victim became too weak to lift their body to breathe. Crucifixion was designed to maximize suffering in full public view, turning punishment into a spectacle and a warning. It wasn't just execution, it was psychological warfare carved in wood and blood. Number 9. The crocodile shears. This brutal device was a heated iron clamp used especially on regicides and traitors. It was heated over fire and then clamped onto the victim's genitals, tearing flesh and often parts of the lower abdomen. Death came from massive blood loss or shock. This punishment was used in medieval Europe as the ultimate humiliation and torture. Number 8. Keel hauling. Originally a naval punishment, keel hauling involved dragging the victim under the hull of a ship, often multiple times. Sharp barnacles and metal fittings on the ship's bottom would tear flesh and skin, while the victim risked drowning. Even if not instantly fatal, the injuries definitely resulted in deadly infections. This practice was documented in the Dutch and British navies up until the 18th century. Number 7. Rat torture. Rat torture consisted of placing a container filled with live rats on the bare stomach or chest of the victim. The container was then heated from the outside. In an attempt to escape the heat, the rats would dig through the victim's body. The method caused extensive internal injuries and led to death through bleeding, infection, or organ failure. It was reportedly used during the Dutch Revolt and in later political regimes to extract confessions or punish prisoners. Number 6. Breaking on the wheel. This method involved binding the victim to a large wooden wheel. The executioner used a heavy rod to break the limbs at multiple points. After the bones were shattered, the body was woven between the spokes of the wheel and displayed publicly. Death occurred through internal bleeding, shock, or dehydration. It was used across medieval Europe from the 9th to the 18th century, often for murderers and robbers as a form of public deterrence. Do you think that was savage? That's nothing compared to what's coming next. Especially the last method on our list will rewrite your definition of cruelty. So unless you want to miss the most disturbing execution method ever devised, stay until the very end. Number 5. The brazen bull. The brazen bull was a hollow bronze statue in the shape of a bull. The victim was locked inside, and a fire was lit beneath it. The metal would gradually heat up, roasting the person alive. The interior was designed to amplify the screams and channel them through tubes, producing a sound similar to a bull's roar. It was allegedly invented in ancient Greece under the tyrant Phalaris of Acragas in the 6th century BCE. Number 4. Impalement. Impalement involved inserting a sharpened stake into the body, often through the rectum, vagina, or abdomen. The stake was positioned in such a way that it avoided major organs, prolonging the victim's life. The individual would slowly slide down the pole under their own body weight. Death could take hours or even several days. This method was used notably in 15th century Wallachia under Vlad III during wartime as a form of psychological warfare. Number 3. Flaying, skinning alive. Flaying involved the removal of skin from the body while the victim was still alive. Executioners typically started at the face, chest, or back. Care was taken to avoid severing major blood vessels to prolong consciousness. Death followed due to hypovolemic shock, infection, or trauma. The method is recorded in ancient Assyrian, Persian, and Aztec cultures, often used for enemies of the state or ritual punishment. Number 2. Lingchi, death by 1,000 cuts. Lingchi was used in imperial China as a form of execution. The victim was tied to a wooden frame, and the executioner made a series of precise cuts to remove pieces of flesh and body parts. The process was carried out methodically to keep the person alive for as long as possible. Death occurred gradually due to blood loss, shock, or organ damage. It was officially practiced in China from the 10th century until it was abolished in 1905, reserved for crimes like treason and parricide. Before we get to our number 1, here are 3 honorable mentions that didn't make the list, but would still be considered nightmares in their own right. The Iron Maiden, a metal sarcophagus lined with spikes that pierced the victim's body without hitting vital organs, prolonging agony. Though iconic and linked to medieval Germany, most historians agree it was likely never used before the 18th century, serving more as a symbol of cruelty than a real torture device. Why an honorable mention? Famous, but historically doubtful. Boiling. Victims were slowly immersed in boiling liquids like water, oil, or molten lead, causing extreme pain as their flesh cooked alive, used in Europe and Asia, including Henry VIII's England, for crimes like poisoning. Honorable mention, because it's horrifying but rare and tied to specific crimes. Crushing by elephant. In South and Southeast Asia, trained elephants crushed victims, often under royal command. The death was usually relatively quick when the head or chest was crushed first. It was a powerful public spectacle symbolizing absolute authority, why it didn't make it onto the list. Regionally limited and quicker death than other brutal methods. And here comes our number 1, Scaphism, the boat torture. Scaphism was an ancient Persian execution method reportedly used during the Achaemenid Empire, circa 5th century BCE. The victim was trapped between 2 boats or placed inside a hollow tree trunk, with only the head, hands, and feet exposed. They were force-fed milk and honey, causing severe diarrhea, while their body was smeared with honey to attract insects. Over days or weeks, insects, larvae, and vermin would eat the victim alive, while infections and dehydration slowly led to death. This gruesome practice was designed not only to kill, but to maximize prolonged suffering, both physically and psychologically, and served as a terrifying warning to enemies and criminals alike. And that wraps up our list. So, what do you think is the most painful execution method? Which one stuck with you the most, or even shook you to your core? Drop your thoughts and feelings in the comments. We love hearing from you. If you found this video eye-opening, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more dark history deep dives. And hey, let us know what topics you want us to explore next. Your suggestions might just become our next video. Thanks for watching.